Hello, my name is Cynthia Paginado, and I've been invited to be here today to share some thoughts and a reflection on the reading for this week's Gospel as we approach the fourth Sunday in our Lenten season. Now, many of us are very familiar with the parable that Jesus recounts in this reading and is widely known as the return of the prodigal son. It's the beautiful story of redemption, of mercy, and in the end it reveals the true path to joy. Now the passage begins with a very telling scene, one of many instances throughout Jesus' ministry when his actions make the people around him a little uneasy, a little bit uncomfortable, as found here in the first verse. Now all the tax collectors and sinners were coming near to listen to him, and the Pharisees and the scribes were grumbling and saying, "This fellow, he welcomes sinners, and he eats with them." Have you ever felt that type of easiness, where you felt that something outside of your comfort zone was being introduced into your space? Jesus challenges us every day to be a reflection of God's love to others. And this challenge can make us very uncomfortable. Here, his actions send a very strong message by not only acknowledging the sinners, the criminals, the thieves, the outcasts, the unloved, but he invites them to a more intimate place by his side to share a meal with him, very much like a family would do. And from there he takes the opportunity to teach through the parable. The story of a family that is torn apart, of a father and his two sons, both of which are struggling to find and understand what kind of hearts we're called to have. Have you ever found yourself alone or lost? Maybe regretting the choices or the series of choices that you've made that have led you to this lonely place. The younger son experienced just such remorse once he has reached rock bottom. And it is at this lowest point in his life when he experiences a conversion and begins to long for the comfort and the love of his father's home. Little does he know of the immense love and joy that he is about to receive the moment his father catches sight of him, as we find here in verse 20. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for him. He ran to his son, threw his arms around him, and kissed him. Can you imagine the reactions at Jesus' table at that moment? Some might have been of surprise, of wonder. These outcasts who were so accustomed to being rejected and unloved. I can imagine them coming to the understanding for the first time in their lives that they each mattered in a most precious way, that their dark past did not define their value before God's eyes. I wonder how many hearts must have been touched by that life-changing revelation. We are all called to be heroic and loving like this father. His heart was certainly a virtuous one, filled with a love that is pure and not limited by conditions. But in addition to this virtuous trait, I see a lot of strength, boldness, and a clear choice to be forgiving and loving. How many of us cling on to hurt, for years even, through bitterness or coldness, through resentment, through jealousy or dismissiveness? Where can joy be possibly found in clinging on to that hurt? The older brother who clung to that hurt and to the anger of seeing his brother so happily received, his reaction reflects a lot of what I sense from the Pharisees, and how some of us ourselves might have felt at certain times in our lives when we felt like we did do a job well. We followed the rules. We acted dutifully. The one thing that his father wanted him to know was that all that is nothing if not done with love. Some may argue that the father had every right to be angry and turn his own son away after enduring such a betrayal. But Jesus wanted us to know that we are called to respond to that hurt with the same strength that this father had. To choose love is to choose joy. And who can deny the Father's incredible joy in this story? I wish you a fruitful and blessed Lent.